Greetings, people of Earth. Welcome back. My name is Jax, and today we are asking the question, who were you yesterday? So, again, beautiful, beautiful landscape, beautiful views. Like, wow. And this place is a very reflective place. I've said this before. Yeah, it inspires a lot of thought and ideas. Cat's coming back as well somewhere. So I've been thinking a lot about like the story of my life, the plot line, the direction of it, how it's all moving, that kind of stuff. And she's coming over. And basically I am curious about the story of who you are and how you got here. Like those kinds of hi little thing. I'm curious about, how you got here, who you were before. There's this old saying where you shouldn't compare yourself to others. You should compare yourself to who you were yesterday. I think I've said it before, but it's an accurate sentiment because you don't want to compare yourself to other people. Hi, yes, you're adorable. Center of attention. You don't want to compare yourself to who you were too much and hold yourself like really harshly, because everybody changes. You don't always get better. I think that's something that our society is really bad at saying, is you don't always improve. Sometimes you do get sick. Sometimes you run into a trouble. Sometimes one of your family members or your friends gets sick or something happens. So you're not always just constantly improving, but you are constantly learning. That's a fact. Yes. You're constantly learning about yourself. You're constantly developing an image of yourself. But today I want to really dive into like the idea of who were you yesterday, because I was a very different kid. I was a very different teenager. I was a very different young adult. I still am a very different young adult. Like, I don't know. I was a super hyper, super energetic, very charismatic young kid. I was the one always inventing games in the backyard with everybody and making up like fantasy worlds. And I very much lived in a fantasy world. Like I was very much, yes, I was very much one of those kids whose like head was very much up in the clouds. And even today it still is in some regards, but I don't know. And then I was a very difficult teenager. I'm not going to say difficult, maybe like preteen. I was a difficult preteen, I was like trying to figure out my life and figure out stuff, and I was young. I think I was really mean to some people, my younger brother included. And I don't know, I just had this like mean streak, and I know why I did. Like I understand what was going on in my life at the time that caused that kind of stuff, but it's still not really justified. And so I don't know, I think about that quite a bit, and I try and be a very different human being than I was back then. And I think I was probably like 17 when I really started to figure out who I was and have a lot more confidence, have a lot more composure. It's at that point where I'm finally starting to get a little bit of wisdom. I still don't have much, but I was starting to see the world a little bit and understand how people work and how the universe works and energy and all kinds of very fun things that you could talk about. And ever since then, it has been a very gradual change. And I feel like every single year I learn some really hard lessons. I figure out some very difficult truths. I say goodbye to people. I say hello to people, just how life works. But I'm proud of how far I have come. And I think the person I was yesterday would be proud of the person I am today, because there have been some obstacles that have been climbed and overcome. There's a current TikTok trend where it's basically, if you could go back in time and talk to yourself when you were in January of 2023, they really wouldn't believe all of the crazy things that have happened to you. And I think that's very true. This year has been, I don't know, exceptionally loud, I think is the way to say it. I think a lot of us are trying to figure out what this year was for us, 2023. What did this mean? And I think a lot of us have come to the conclusion that this year was loud, this year was busy, this year was hectic, this year was very opinionated and passionate, and there were a lot of people with a lot of opinions telling you this is the right way to do this is the right way to look at the world. And obviously that's not true, because your interpretation is going to be your interpretation. So I think that whole idea is a little bit silly, but nonetheless, this year has been loud. And I don't know, December is such a month of reflection, especially in the Northern Hemisphere, because we have like Christmas, New Year's, it's a new year, literally. Yeah, and it's one of those things where you look back on everything that happened this year and decide what went down, and try and categorize this year into a short, simple sentence, like 2020 and 2021 were COVID, 22 was like recovery from COVID, 23 has been, I don't even know what you would call 2023, but yeah. But I think you guys know me, I don't like to dwell on the past too much. I want to try and focus on the present. I don't even try and focus on the future too much, with like resolutions and stuff. If you've seen my resolution video, you know that, I really don't know what's going on, or, those kinds of set goals I don't really do. But there is something to be said for thinking about the past and who you were, and charting a new course forward. So I think that's what I wanted to share. Maybe reflect on who you are this year, reflect on who you have been for the last few years, and who do you want to be? Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What is important to you? What was important to you back then? Because back in the day, the stuff that was important to me was money, popularity, having just like the best time, whatever the consequences, and making sure people had a good impression of me. And now I really don't care that much. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be within the olive grove, listening to the birds chirp and existing. So that's me. Thank you guys for listening. Let me know what you think. Who were you yesterday, the day before yesterday, 10 years ago? Let me know. And I will... Yeah, what's this? Okay, guys. Well, as always, I will talk to you guys tomorrow. What cat?